as any day, that inner peace that in which we are alive and know to be alive or become alive, and that inner peace is a basis of understanding that we are not accepting a reality that is based on sickness, loss, and death, but a reality that is based on the core of our being, that we share with every being. All beings of this earth in the entire universe share this same core thought, I would say. And this thought, this creative thought, is that faculty that we call enhances life, makes us alive, is what life is. So, in the awakening of our mind, we have to look at what are we believing in that can threaten a human consciousness to die, to get sick. We have to look intrinsically at the idea of sickness, loss, and death. And if we are looking at these ideas of sickness, we are looking at fabrications of our mind in our own mind that have nothing to do with the source of our being, have nothing to do with what I call God or my own God self. The situation as we find ourselves during this time of Corona, and now it's already going into looking at ideas how to reopen, how to get back to normality of life. But what we are really looking at is how, not how to get back to a life as we lived it in the past, seemingly as part of the dream, but as a new life, a reborn life. How can we um, be in a full expression of ourselves and be free of sickness, suffering, loss, and death? And that is offered through that contact that we are having within ourselves with the Christ, because it is the contact with our whole self. It is the contact with the mind of God. And so we have to be very clear and true to ourselves that there is no reality in changing imagery, changing objective reality as it is perceived by these eyes, as we hear it in the news, what is going on. And see, all those things are only increasing the separation, increasing the fear, because human consciousness is identified as a body, believes it is this here, instead of seeing there's mind, there's spirit mind, there's an eternal being that is what we are, that makes up ourselves. And so I'm inviting you to use this expression of A Course in Miracles as given by Christ mind, living, resurrected Christ mind, as your own awakened mind, representing life not in an opposite to ideas of death or annihilation of consciousness, but of an understanding that sickness, loss, suffering, and death are actually impossible. If we can come and train our minds and come to greater understanding that it is completely impossible to be what we never could be, because God did not create limitation, a limited self, a self that is subject to die. It is God did not create illusions. It's only we let, by bringing illusions to the light, to the truth, we allow and we let illusions to disappear. They are simply going there where they always were, where they belong, and what they are, nothing whatsoever. That is what we are ready to listen now. We are listen to a voice that teaches us that we no longer acknowledge the nothingness of what we were making up for ourselves, what we were literally just hallucinating, dreaming, just dreaming. Once you wake up, you know perfectly well this dream was just a dream. It couldn't really affect you. You might have sweated all over in a nightmare that you were dreaming through. But once you wake up, you know this hasn't really done anything to me. I was just reliving in a making the dream real. And so that sleep dream is not really different than your dream in your awakened, in your conscious awakened state of mind, that how you perceive right now this dream imagery, that a voice is speaking to you and making you aware that the mind of God does not change, and there is no need for you anymore to believe or hold on unto a belief system of reality of what the separated mind represents. Because that what we call, or is also in A Course in Miracles, in that message called the ego thought system, is simply exposed to be without substance, to be without cause, and therefore to have no effects. Well, this is kind of my introduction for today, and I will go with you in a moment right into the text of chapter 10, because he talks it over with you as the idols of sickness. And this is really what we made out of our own hallucinations, idols of sickness. So I'll be right back, and just keep on joining me for an instant here on Spreaker.com in The Voice from Heaven. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love you.